No problem.
Okay. Can you just say something, Kathy?
Hello.
You're good.
You ready? All right, let's start the meeting. If everyone can stand, join me in the pledge. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I spent the day today talking with Kathy and Tina all day. We're not ready in the water districts yet. So I agreed with Tina. We sent it to Kathy. I think you agreed, Kathy, that we should cancel the meetings we got scheduled until the water districts are figured out. We don't want to make this a preliminary budget until we know the numbers we have from the water districts. And hopefully we'll have that done this week. Then we can reschedule, make it the preliminary budget, then have the public hearing. Well, we still have, what, 2 weeks?
November
2.5
7th
weeks,
is the preliminary.
November
You still
7th.
got time.
So,
It's in the paper already, so if you did it a couple days before that, it's fine.
so if we cancel it, because we have a meeting tomorrow night, we're gonna meet tomorrow night to do it, so I think we need to postpone those and reschedule. Till we figure out exactly where we are with the water district.
And yes, I do agree that it's worth postponing until the water districts get sorted out.
And you're just talking about the rates, Kathy? Or
What do you,
what we're
like
expending?
the
in
water
there or the revenue?
rates?
Okay,
I think Tina's trying to figure out, like we discussed the last time, where the money that's coming in, what accounts it's going into. So I
yeah.
think she's just trying to sort all of that out and wants to make sure that she has a good handle on that and has that correct.
Okay,
So that way, when we set the water district budgets, we feel like we're on good, solid footing.
and that's because we have one bank account and we allocate that money as it comes in, we record it to each district that it belongs in.
Yes.
So that's what she's just
Yeah.
checking, that the allocation is correct, okay.
Okay, the first question we had was A2410, rental of real property. It's page 5, I think. I don't know, I wrote these down. Yeah, I think it's 5.
Yep.
That's the rent we get from Ridgeway for court fees.
How come it went from 10,000 in Oh, wait a minute, 13,900 to. Look at here.
No, it's
No, wait a minute,
6,400,
alright.
996, oh, yeah.
So it's gone down for the tentative, $400,
1,600.
1,600.
or 1,600.
Yeah, we averaged it out and it dropped a little. So, commissions, what that is, after we have hard numbers and after, if we have to amend the budget, that line number is gonna change because these are not commissions. Those are franchise fees we get from cable companies. That's what those are.
Now, there's no other rental and real property, just what the.
Just the Ridgeway to court, yes.
I'm sorry, can you go back to, what did you say the commissions was? Franchise fees from?
It's gonna be changed to franchise fees when we have a
And what
hard
would-
numbers.
And what would we, what is that? Like,
Spectrum or whatever cable
Like the
company.
cable
Yeah.
company.
well, I get that, but why would we get a fee for that? I guess.
They pay us to allow them to
Have a
have-
tower or something?
have
Okay.
the services. The next line, federal aid.
So I think special, my internet's not working. I think special franchise fees too are for those utility type companies that run lines under the streets. And the town doesn't assess those in the same way that it assesses other properties. So the New York State Office of Real Property Tax Services, which is now part of the New York State Tax Department, sets the assessments on those, but they pay essentially what are called special franchises, and they get paid to the town as if it were a tax bill almost, but it's not. It's similar to real property tax, basically.
Okay.
Next question we had on was federal aid. I don't know what line number that was.
4989, maybe?
Yeah,
Or 4089?
Okay, that was ARPA, so we don't get that anymore. That's why that's not on there. The next question was unmetered water sales. Water District 1 says non-metered, but it's unmetered water sales. That's anything that we sell if we have to replace people's meters or parts, or if somebody puts in a private line, they pay for, that's where that revenue comes from. If we have to replace somebody's meter, they have to pay for it. So it's sale of, I guess,
It's anything other than water.
yes.
Literal, anything relating to the water district.
Anything that we,
Before, but it's not the actual water
Yeah.
itself.
Is there a list of all those, like meters and stuff they put since, for a year? Since last year?
I don't, would there be?
Aren't the meters, recorded through, they go through your office or do they?
We just take their money and give it to
Well,
them.
yeah, but Dale brings the meters in or sets them up, right?
Yeah, then we.
So he would have meter, whatever numbers that it would be.
Well, we take that off of the meter. and
Right.
That goes to Beth, so she knows how to bill that person for that.
So then she could tell you how many meters are part.
So is there like a work order, Steve, that they have that says, okay, they're going to Linda Lena's house and they need to do X, Y, and Z, and here's the
Well,
parts
they'd
we
have
use?
to make arrangements with you, so there must be some kind of a work order, because there's gotta be somebody there when they install the meters.
But I'm saying like from, as far as the parts they took from here, so that Beth knows what to bill somebody? Like whether there was a, what do they call that, a tap fee?
Yeah, pushes.
Push fee, whatever, all those, is that on a sheet of paper somehow that goes to Beth? If they say they took a meter, they had to tap a line, they had to push under the road, and here's all the.
I would say
things that should
probably
be
not.
charged.
That would probably be just, they would put the meter and say, okay, we gotta go install a meter. And the meter would have all the parts that they need to install it, and that would be their job.
So they wouldn't have a record of the push or.
Well, if they had to do a push, I'm sure they'd have a record of it, because it would be a job title that they had to do for the day, but I don't believe they have a worksheet. Probably Dale scheduled some kind of a work.
I've never seen one.
That
No,
might be something we wanna
Yeah.
look into, is just creating like a
I've never,
work order sheet.
he would
where
just come in and say, okay, today we're gonna do a water push for Linda Lehman.
Yeah.
And then, then when they do their worksheets, Well, if they still do them the way they used to, they would write down that they were working on the water at Linda Lehman's house doing a water push, if that's what you're still doing.
Yeah. I'm just curious if there's any documentation so that so that the billing to the end user doesn't, fall through the cracks.
Yeah.
with some-
I would think that when it's paid, they gotta have a receipt, because it goes through her office.
They get a receipt.
So the billing
got
is
that on
there.
record, or, I mean, a receipt?
Oh,
Or?
it's in a record book, yes.
Okay.
A receipt for what, that
That they purchased the water meter, and that water meter has that UPC number on
that's
it.
the meter itself, but
Right,
what
but
about
as far
the man hours?
Yeah,
that
the
they-
bushes
That's what
or-
We
I'm,
don't get anything of that. We don't see that.
and I would assume that gets billed to the
The
end user,
homeowner.
right, the taxpayer?
I would think so.
Yeah, so I'm just curious
never seen
how they
that.
know that that's actually happening, and somebody isn't like, it doesn't get lost in the transmission from one end of the building to the other.
I've never seen that.
I would be curious from Dale, it obviously not necessarily for the budget, but how that happens to make sure that,
Okay, DB 5110-400,
What page is that?
10. We budgeted 200,000 last year, he's at 156,000. U-Dig, hardware, Medina Lumber, Kirk Fuel, winter equipment, Medina Lumber, Kirk Fuel, Shelby Crushed Stone, Ace, Cook Brothers Truck Parts, Gordon Fisk, Core Main, Diesel Repair, Shelby Crushed Stone.
Is there amount of gallons on Kirk oil? I mean, I mean.
Well, these are just the vouchers that went out. I don't
So
have.
there's no gallons or
No.
how many tons of salt we got or anything like that?
Kirk Fuel.
I got another question back on page 7, traffic control contractual. What would that be? It's like 5,000.
Anything to do with page 7, you said?
Yep,
I don't know.
third one down,
I must have lost 7.
traffic control contractual.
That's anything to do with whatever they have to do. If they need signs, if they need new traffic cones, anything when they're stopping traffic.
So that's 5,000 for that?
Cones are expensive.
Well, that's
Cones are super expensive.
Anything to do with the traffic for the town or
Yep.
fire companies or hospitals.
That seems like pretty high.
Yeah.
Well,
so can we go back, Scott, to the 5110,
Yep.
24, the maintenance of the roads?
Mhm.
So we think we still need 210,000?
I spoke to Dale today. He stopped everything in August. Did nothing since August. When we weren't sure on money,
Right.
that's why there's money left in the fund. That's why there's money left in the other fund. He did no more road repairs. The minimum he had to do, he stopped spending everything. But he spent 150, almost 157 last year, and we budgeted 200. Lots of stone products.
So I guess my question would be, is there some type of a cycle? Like, I don't know, let's say there's 30 roads in the town of Shelby. Is there some type of a cycle that says, these 10 roads were done this year, so they won't be done for 3 more years? Or these 10 roads were done and they're due, so that we kind of know from
I think
year
he has
to
a.
year?
I think he has a 5-year. Was it a
There's
5-year?
a 5-year
There's
plan.
a 5-year plan on what needs to be done.
So in that 5-year plan, he thinks that whatever's coming up next year is gonna be 210,000?
Well, I'm not sure if that 210 is including just roads, or if that's including, would that be including like if he had a tire break or something?
Well, he can pull from there if he needs to. If he's short on.
One time we blew a tire on the loader and it was $5,000 for a tire, so. You know, I mean, I understand you probably don't wanna, you might wanna cut the budget a little bit on there, but I hate to take too much meat off the bone there and then we'd be sorry. I mean, if he doesn't use it, it goes back into the general fund.
What about chips? So that's added to it too, right? 240 plus the,
We have to spend the money to get the money.
yeah.
So that's actually free money for us. Actually it's 259 something and but we do 240 just to make sure we're covered.
Okay, so that's technically $480,000 we can spend on
Mhm.
that. And so I guess that's where I'm thinking the same thing, probably Ed is thinking. And then another 210 on top of that.
480, what are you talking?
Well, the 240 we have to spend to get the chips money.
Chips.
And then our 240 plus the 240 we're getting back, now we've spent,
Yeah, but I see what you're saying, but that 240 goes right back into the account every year. That's just used over and over. If we spend 200,000, chips is gonna give us 200,000. So that 200,000 is still in there. So next year we can plan on using that 200.
so you have to budget it in there to make sure it's
Yes.
available when it's time.
It has to be available,
So-
yeah.
So let me just preface as we go through this. So I was poking around online today and I looked and saw Barry's budget online. And I'm sorry I don't have copies for everybody, but this was kind of a last minute thing. Barry has a budget. They are if what I found online is correct, they're about a 55 square mile town and they have, I don't know, 98 miles of road. We are a 47 square mile town and we have 78 miles of road. So we're about 10 square miles smaller and we have about 20 miles of road less. So their total budget is 2.4 million. Our total budget here is 3.8. So that's why I'm looking and saying somewhere we've got to be some, and maybe there's a reason, but that's what I'm trying to understand.
And Barry doesn't have a village
Sorry, you
to,
can pass that down if they want.
doesn't have a village to
That's
get
the
tax
Barry.
money out of. They're just a town by
So
itself.
if we're roughly, I mean, I would say we're a little smaller, so I'm having a hard time understanding why why our budget is $1.4 million more. So
Our
that's,
biggest part of our budget's payroll and then highway.
oh, they probably don't break it out by payroll on
Yeah.
that page. And the highway on there, I think their highway is 1.2 million. Is that, am I close, Scott? Is that true?
1.2, yeah.
And this highway is $1.6 million, almost $1.650 million. So our highway is 450,000. I would expect it to be a little more, but I just want to make sure it needs to be 450,000, almost $500,000 more.
They don't have their payroll on there.
It might be, like, you might have to, they don't do a sheet like we have, they might have to just add up the point ones, but even if you just look at the highway budget in itself, I mean, I don't know how many people they have in their highway department, but I would think they would need what we have, right? If
I think they're the same.
I wanted to try to sit down and kind of do a line by line comparison, I just didn't have time to do it.
Does the overtime go into that, like the wood for them also? Is overtime counted in that, or we just don't know?
I can't say for sure on theirs, but I would think the overtime is in there, they got a budget
They'd
for
have
it.
to, yeah.
Yeah, I would say they have to budget for it. I will say that's last year's budget, that's not this year's, obviously, but I wouldn't think their budget is gonna change a huge amount.
We're missing pages. DB in here.
So I guess that's, especially now that I see that, that's why I'm trying to go back and understand, do we really need the increases?
increases in what, are we talking that DB line?
In anything, I
Any of
guess,
it.
in any of them, you know, like if, and I didn't include, well, I should say that. In the 2.4 million, their water is in there, so let's ignore that because the water, we know we have some work to do. But so their highway budget is 1.2, our roughly 1.6 almost.
Yep.
And their general fund is 601,000 to our 1,000,001. That just seems like pretty big swings to me, and I'm wondering if there isn't somewhere we can cut back.
Well, the issue is, I understand what you're saying. This year, we're going, on the original tentative, we went
Yep.
from 767 to 670.
Yep.
Now, you wanna go up or down $1.50 each year, whether you have to go up or whether you have to go down. If we cut our budget way down and say we'll drop the taxes to $4 per thousand, next year, if not next year, the year after, we'll have nothing in the funds. Taxes will go up to $10 per thousand. See, there's a fine line between cutting
Understood.
and you have to think, okay, 2 years down the road, are we not gonna have this revenue? Do we need this security blanket in there?
It's not the revenue I'm trying to cut. I'm trying to cut the expenses.
I understand it.
Because the expenses are the ones that seem quite a bit higher than, and this is a neighboring town. Like, I'm not talking about somebody down in New York City. I mean, we share borders with them. So that's all I'm asking is, are we sure that, and I don't know, but are we sure that some of these lines are as, you know,
The
reasonable?
expenditures,
Well, we did on
comparable to-
5110 400. We did 200,000 last year, and he stopped in August at 156,000. So even if we kept it at 200,000 and didn't do the 210, the extra 10 that he asked for,
Yeah.
that's still cutting it close.
I'm looking at it as such a gap between, the numbers and the town. Their town's a little bigger, you know, that's what
Yeah, that's comparing apples and oranges. I understand what you're
No,
saying, but
I don't think it is.
there's something different that we're not thinking of.
I think we're spending too much, what it is, that's what it is, way too much.
I guess that's, you could very well be right. It's
Yeah.
something we're not thinking of, but that's what I'd like to know from Dale. Why is our highway budget so much larger than another town that has more roads than we do and less.
Their roads could have been in better repair, and
Could
that was
be.
where all our expenses are.
Could be, but
Road
that's
repair.
what I'm trying to understand. Because one thing I will tell you from years of doing budgeting, everybody, when they put in their budget, they ask for the moon. I mean, you saw the village, what their highway person asked for this year, and
They gave
they-
like
they gave,
50%,
they gave half what they asked for.
yeah.
And I don't think the roads in the village are all that bad. Sorry, Marguerite. So I'm just saying that sometimes, you know, people, they want to always be careful and make sure they have enough, and I think we just need to be cautious that we're taking that into account and making sure we're not over giving on every line.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with you, but I know that line's tight. Like I said, he stopped in August, and we're at 156. So if we kept that at 200, there's nothing that says we can't add money to that line.
So next year, we will have more detail under each
Oh,
of these lines.
on
so that
every line's gonna have more
We will see
detail.
this.
Oh, that's what I thought we were gonna do, is come up with a whole new worksheet
Yeah.
where they had to itemize everything.
Soon as we get the hard numbers and if we have to amend the budget, we're already gonna break down subcategories on each one of these for each thing. I've already talked to Tina, we're already doing that, we're already making up, worksheets for all the department heads.
So he only spent 156 so far this year?
As of, yes, he stopped all work in August.
Right, so if you, the chips will be covering that, I mean, between the chips and, what we're gonna put in for the budget, you're talking over 400,000. So the chips will cover that 156 pretty easy.
No, that's separate. That's
That
chips,
road repair you're talking, right?
chips money, yes.
Yeah, but all he spent on the road repair is 156, he said, up to August.
Does he have more, Scott, that he,
How much is left?
Oh, yeah, there's more roads that need to be done. He just,
How much
do you know
money
what
left?
they are?
off the top of my head, no, I don't know what they are.
Because I think he should be able to tell us, like, well, let me step back and ask this. When they do a road, they must have some formula, right? So each mile is, if they do it, would they put the oil and the stone on it or whatever they put on? That must be so much per mile. Do you know what that number is?
No, I don't, because the calculations on the oil prices have changed so much,
Okay.
and stone prices have changed so much.
Well, he did quite a few miles this year. What did he pay for it this year, this summer?
He wouldn't be doing roads still at this point, would he,
No.
though?
It'd
No.
be too cold.
No, that's long done.
Okay. So then he won't really spend more than what he's
No.
spent so
Well,
far.
maybe he's gotta buy more fuel. Or he might have to buy more salt. That's something we gotta look at.
Yeah.
Maybe
But-
he's gotta buy some more,
But the
he
salt,
might have to buy more snow equipment, like plow wings and shoes.
but that would go in a different line.
Mm-hmm.
That would go
Well,
under,
That's gonna go into, there's a snow plowing or in contractual line,
Yeah.
that's where the salt would go.
The DA, yeah. That was DA 50, what was that?
5142.4. And we talked about moving that to DP.
51.
So you don't think he's gonna spend any more on roads then, right? So
5140, you said?
5142.4.
This year, okay, we budgeted 5142, 400.
Yes.
We budgeted 150, 148, 723 was spent. 4,000 of that 148 was winter equipment. And $57 was Eagle Harbor sand and gravel. So the remaining 144,000, all American rock salt. And that's at state contract bid.
what is the state bid per
I
ton?
don't know.
Does Dale know, or you must?
they would have to know, yeah.
We should have that number. Estimate how much is in the barn. I mean, last year, I don't think they used much salt at all. It was a mild winter, so.
So out of that, was that 5142, 400? He's used almost all of that up.
Yeah, but I'm saying, if we go back to the other one, the highway maintenance of the roads, there wouldn't be any salt in that. If we need more money for salt, that's gotta go in the other.
5110, 400 you're talking?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
not salt. That's all the other stuff I was reading to you earlier.
Okay, but if he's got no more roads to do,
You only spent 100.
right, and he's at 150 or 160.
Yeah. So the chips will cover that easily. So you got another 210,000 in road repair. You probably won't even be using it, right?
Well, if he doesn't use it, it goes back in the general fund. doesn't
Yep.
it? It's not like he has to spend it.
No, and he can't, in big projects like that, he can't spend without the board's approval. Anything over $3,000 has to be approved by us.
Yes, but we did hear in one of the meetings, it's in my budget, so I'm allowed to spend it.
Yeah, with our
Request,
approval.
well, we got it's in my budget line, so you should be letting me spend it, and that's the problem. Sometimes people see what's in their budget, they wanna spend what's in their budget.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean they're gonna be allowed to.
Do we encumber from year to year?
At the end of the year, the books are zeroed out. So,
But so like if we, at the end of the year, let's say in this line, there was, I don't know,
what line are we talking?
5110.
Okay.
.4. If in that line, there was something that you knew that you were buying in January, but you couldn't get it you ordered it in December, but it's not coming in till January, so you're not paying for it till January. You would encumber your money
Yes,
this year.
that would.
Do we do that?
I don't think we've
So
bought
that we're
anything
not-
like that.
So that we're not taking money out of next year's
Yep.
budget, but we're still using this year's?
As far as I can remember, we haven't done it at the end of the year to do that.
Okay, all right. So
Not
there's
saying it
been a
won't
need-
happen.
There's not
but
been
we
a
haven't-
need to do it.
No, there has not been a
Okay,
need to do it.
okay.
He projects ahead and he gets his salt or whatever he needs, extra plow blades, the cutting blades.
He doesn't know how much salt we're gonna need then, estimated.
You guys keep jumping back and forth between the salt line and this line.
No, I'm good. I'm still on 5110,
Okay.
400.
Yeah,
So we can, he wanted a $10,000 increase. We can leave that at 200.
I guess I just wanna know how many miles of roads does he need to do next year? And based on, you estimate the oil price, give or take whatever percentage from what it is this year, or if it's a contract, he should know what the oil price is, so we should be able to calculate a rough estimate of per mile or cost, and how many miles of roads is he doing. That's just what I would like to know before we put a number in there. And then if there's some, like you said, tires or something that you might wanna, so then we throw a little more in for that. But I just don't.
They don't do their bids, Linda, until later in the year, so I'm thinking it would probably be harder for him to project.
What do you mean his bids? I don't understand.
For the oil or something,
Okay,
for the oil companies for doing the roads, they probably won't even bid that out until, or come out with a final price per gallon.
is
till
that,
later.
is that, because I know the fuel, the diesel was on a 3-year contract, the oil is not necessarily
No.
like that?
Oil changes.
Okay. But it won't, I mean,
I mean,
in
they use
history,
the
you
oil.
should be able to see, like, what has it fluctuated in the past?
Yeah, in the
Is it
last
like
2
a
or 3 years.
5%, fluctuation?
That I don't know, I can't tell you that because I don't see the oil price.
Or the oil guy wherever you buy it from should be able to tell you, like, we have a rough estimate, this is what we think it's gonna go to. And then we should be able to somewhat calculate based on how many miles of roads we're gonna do.
It then depends too on how coarse or how good the roads are, what mix they have to use. They might have to use more oil and more stone versus on some roads where the other stones they don't have to. Or if they're buying blacktop, we'll just say blacktops, I'll just say $100 a ton,
Mhm.
versus oil and stone. Without knowing what it is, I can't tell you.
Well, I know you can't, but then,
He could give you an estimate of what he has spent in the past or what they're doing, but I think in order for him to give you an estimate on what he has to do, we have to see what his 5-year plan is for roads.
exactly, that's what I'm
And then
saying.
if the road is bad, say, just because it's maintenance on the road, like, or road repair like that, that might include maybe the sluices, or maybe they have to, we'll say, dig out the shoulders and put stone in or something in the shoulders for weeps and stuff like that for water runoff. I mean, that's all gotta be calculated in when they build a road. I mean, I couldn't tell you.
It definitely takes planning. I'm not saying it's an easy thing, but it takes going out, in the summer and driving around and saying, here's the roads I think we're gonna have to do next year. The shoulder looks okay, we might not need to. The shoulder looks bad, we need to budget that in. And you have to kind of do some prep work this year to be able to budget.
He would have a 5-year plan on what roads they do, because they have to keep track of that with the state.
And then I would think, like I said, he would drive around on those roads and say what else needs to be done on this road if, is it just the road or is it?
I don't know, that if he might even count in on that money, maybe he even counts in where they have to have somebody come in and trim the trees around the wires or something, because they can't get the boxes of the trucks up when they're going under the trees or something. I mean, that's all stuff that's usually gotta be calculated in, but.
And I just wanna make sure he's doing that, because because clearly if we're at, what did you say, Scott, 158 right now?
156, yeah.
157, okay, so let's call it 160. We budgeted 200. We've got $40,000 in that line we're dropping to the fund balance. But if we're doing that on every line, we're charging taxpayers this money and the same taxpayer, like, you can say we can use that money next year, and you can. but the same person that paid the tax this year to do that might
Yeah.
not still be living here next year.
Yeah.
So they've paid for something they're not getting the benefit of. That's why they tell you, you shouldn't do that in your budget lines and charge people, because they might not be the same people getting the benefit when you start dipping into your fund balance.
Well, I hate to see it cut so much that he doesn't have.
You gotta remember, that was August. So you got September, October, November, December. You still got 4 months that come out of that budget line, and there's only 40.
And that's
Yeah,
what I'm
but
what
that's-
else will
that's
come
road
out of there? If there's
repair.
no road repair, what
Yeah,
else will come out
what
of
else?
there?
There's gotta be something else in there besides road repair for that.
No, that's what we need to find out.
Can I make a suggestion? Why isn't he here? I mean, we're guessing, we're throwing darts at a board, right? Wondering what, this and everything like that. I'm not faulting anybody, but I would think
It would be
these
helpful,
major
yeah.
issues, and that's the biggest thing, is our highway department. He should be here. I don't know if we can request him to come to the next one.
That's the oil company.
Okay,
Schuco, yeah.
23,000 there. 20,000 for truck repair. 2,000
These are
for
all bills.
financial service. Kirk Fuel Company, 13,000. Kirk Fuel Company, 400. Diesel repair, 600.
No,
I don't
the-
think
the
anybody's
fuel is-
questioning what we've spent. It's
Yeah.
what still needs to be spent is the question. Are we gonna spend the rest of the money? Do we need to spend the rest of the money? And if not, then do we really need to up it
Up it,
or
yeah.
even stay at 200? I mean,
The fuel is, state contracted, so you know exactly what you're gonna pay for that.
Yeah, but then you have to consider in there too that, which each town does, our mutual agreement. So how many days out of the month do we work for Barry? How many days out of the month do we work for?
I don't know.
Do
Yeah.
we have,
We're paying for the fuel, paying for the.
How many though? I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. You know, it's just, and there's no way to track that. There's no way to know because they'll call up, hey, I need 3 of your guys this week to
yeah,
help.
but they're getting the fuel from, our pump, right? When they
Mhm.
take off?
Yeah.
You should have a record of that.
Our trucks, we pay for our fuel, yes.
Yeah.
But like working with Medina, we get all the road grinding. So that's a handoff. We use the road grindings to
But
fix
there must
roads.
be something where you say, that somebody's keeping track of the shared services somewhat to make sure that one town isn't getting much more of a benefit than another town.
Do we have
It must work out fairly.
Yeah, that's
equal.
handled between the superintendents, yeah. They know
Okay,
what you
so,
do.
Yeah.
so I would think that we should have some understanding of roughly how much shared services do we still need to provide, or,
Do we have shared services contracts with everybody, or?
I'm not, do we have a contract on that, Darlene? I think there is isn't there a shared services agreement?
What if there is?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Well, in 22, we spent 179, 23, 134, and we're at 156 this year.
And what was in 23, what was 23 is what, 129?
179 in 22,
Yeah.
130,
135.
135,
135, yep,
Mhm.
and 200 last year. Well, we are at 156, so
and we adopted 200,
200.
and then on top of that is the chips, right? 240,
The chips, yeah, chips is for paving.
yeah. So that chips, 240 chips covered the
Chip.
134 or 135, right? When you spent that, the chips covered that. There was still over 200,000 in there then.
What are you talking about?
Well, I'm talking about the 135 and 23 you actually spent, and the chips was let's see, it was 215. Actual was 259, so 260. So that covered that 135, and you still had 200,000. Yeah, you still budgeted 200,000.
No, we don't get the money for chips till the end of the year. We have to
Yeah, I
spend that
understand that.
money
Yeah.
to get it back. So that didn't cover that 134. That 200
had
that
to
was
go.
budgeted covered that 134. Or like this year, the 200 that was budgeted covered the 156.
So then what did the chips pay for then? If you didn't use it for covering the 135?
The chips pays for the asphalt for the roads. We spend the money, then the state reimburses us when Dale gives them all the receipts.
Right.
The maintenance of roads construction,
So, okay, so
that's,
I'm sorry.
go ahead.
So I think where Ed is going is, which now if at the end of the year, we get the $200,000 back from CHIPS that we've spent,
240, yeah.
right? That money should then still be, that should be
Mhm.
in our coffers to use next year.
It is, over and over.
Okay, but I feel like I'm missing something here, but yet we're putting it back in the budget again and we're taxing the taxpayers to get that money again each year.
Yeah, you know you're gonna get CHIPS money every year. I mean, it
Exactly.
hasn't gone down much. It's been the same.
Like if we've spent it and now they give it back to us on December 31st, right?
Mhm.
We've got the money there, but yet we're putting it in our budget again
Right.
and saying to the taxpayers, give us that money again. Is it,
And that's,
am I missing something?
we're pulling that out of,
Good to me.
we're pulling that out of the funds. Appropriations, revenues.
There's nothing in this budget line to say it's coming out, oh, up above, you're seeing the 150. Okay, I gotta think, can we just table
Yep.
that one?
Yeah.
I gotta sit down and really think about that
So,
line.
so you've got, right, so you've got CHIPS revenues
Right,
at DB 3501, right, for 240.
Yep.
And down below, you've got permanent improvement is that the CHIPS money? Because that's the 240 number at DB
Yep, that's the CHIPS money.
5112.2.
That's
So
the town's
that says-
contribution.
Okay, so that says that you spent 259,498 so far this year.
Mm-hmm. Then how come he said he only spent 160?
I think he was up a line. You guys are on two different lines. He was
Yeah.
on 5110
Mm-hmm.
and CHIPS is 5112.
Yes.
Right.
So he's saying
Right.
that on 5110, we spent 156,000 this
Yes.
year.
Mm-hmm.
51, 10.
I'm just having a hard time grasping that one. That one feels like we're double dipping and
Yeah, that's what I
and maybe
figured.
not, but it certainly. Because
Okay.
if we're putting it in. to
Out of the 240,000 of CHIPS money,
Yep,
we spent $236,030.30.
okay, so this just needs to be adjusted.
50,000 went to suit coat, and 100, and the remainder went to Bear Stone for asphalt and road stuff. 236,030.30.
Oh, but the revenue side is the 240 offsets the 240 down below, so there's no
Yes.
net effect on taxes.
Nope.
Okay, sorry, okay. I knew that there was some. But I'm still bothered by the 210. I think we need to drop that down. Unless Dale can come back with unless he's got a reason that he can justify that he's planning on spending more this year than he has the last 3 years.
I can't see us dropping that down because we're at 156,000 out of the 200, and he stopped in August. So you still have 4 or 5 months that he's not spending.
Understood. Then can he tell us what is still left that he's gonna buy? What else is he planning on spending that money for the rest of the year?
Boy, he just stopped all except for major repairs.
But what does he still need that he doesn't have right now that he needs to, I think we need to know that.
All right, the next question was, we'll get that from him. The lighting should go down. We already did the non-metered. 5110, we did that. A1620. The question on that, right?
What page are we?
Page 6.
Page 6.
Buildings and equipment, no, 1620.
1620.4.
Yep, contractual.
Drop that a little.
Yeah, that's, let me hold on. National Grid, New York State Electric and Gas, Charter Communications, Lake Country Media, Springbrook Holding Company, KBS, all our software, all our leases, all our contracts, Williamson, everything. That's where that comes out of. Actually, give me 1 second. I'll pull up That was the A line, Linda?
Yes,
Yep.
1620.4. Yes.
$165, we spent $126.
Why is there so much fluctuation in that account?
What page you on?
Page
Oh.
6, like the fourth one from the bottom.
Okay, yeah.
Like we were 112,000 in 22. We went up to 200 and almost 230,000 in 23. And now he just said, what did he say we are at? 165. Why are we like going up and down so much if it's all kind of contractual stuff that?
Could that have been for maybe generator work or painting the building or?
Could be.
Oh, and no painting come out of that.
ARPA. Did that come out of ARPA?
Oh, well, you know what? I don't know. I don't remember now.
I thought it did.
I don't know why I thought we didn't pay to paint. I thought the Job Corps did it.
Yeah, but you
Yeah,
got,
they paid, they paid, I think,
Oh, okay. I thought that was free. I don't know why.
Well, I think we had to buy the paint, but I thought the labor
I
was
think,
free
Yeah.
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 from the Job Corps.
Yeah, I guess that's what I was thinking.
I know something was on ARPA that they did. Something.
How about the parking lot?
Yeah, that was ARPA.
The park.
The blacktop part.
We parked that, probably the courtroom maybe, painting and the rugs.
Mm-hmm.
Rugs were, what, over 30,000 or around 30,000 for the rugs. Then updating the courtroom with the paint and, I mean, probably the bathrooms, redid the bathrooms.
Yeah, they did the bathrooms.
Really shouldn't need much here in the building, should be
Yeah, that's what
pretty
I'm
much
thinking.
set.
If we've done all
Maybe
those
they can
things,
throw
there
down
shouldn't be
some,
too much left to do for a couple years.
From grindings and some oil on the rest of the parking lot. I mean, we already got
And fix the one out.
this stuff out back.
Get rid of the puddles. That's gonna be dangerous in the wintertime. That's gonna freeze.
I don't know, you could probably get our Hills paver, and I don't think the asphalt plants are closed down yet. You know, and patch that spot out there for winter.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty bad. I saw Lorraine get out of the car at the board meeting, and she was in water because it's right next to the row where she parked, and it's all the way. Yep.
Yeah, I know, especially with this ice in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
People calling her Lorraine. Mike, everybody calls her Lorraine. Nobody calls her Lorraine.
I'll send this to you electronically, but here's the
Okay, so the Able Electric for 13,500.
There was a generator,
Fixing the
electrical
Yeah, but
panel.
that hopefully isn't gonna happen again. We
No.
paid to fix that.
You got the overhead doors now, they're taken care of.
What's
Pretty much
convergent?
everything
What's
in this
General
place.
convergent?
security.
$5,700. What would that have been for? That, I don't see that as a monthly charge, so that looks like that
Was
probably
that
won't
to put the
recur.
security camera in?
When all the cameras got upgraded on the outside of the building.
Okay, so that won't
Yeah.
happen again.
That's it.
What's Springbrook Holdings?
I remember seeing that on the bill.
That was-
50, almost 5,700.
What is it?
Springbrook,
Wasn't that software?
Springbrook Holding Company.
That's software.
Is that, I don't
Yeah.
remember.
That's software.
Okay, so that's probably a
What was
one-time
that
charge.
for?
I don't know.
I think it's a
Oh, was
yearly,
that the one that
I think it's a
Miranda had?
yearly fee.
Was that the one that Miranda had that, was that Springbrook?
Oracle. Wasn't that Oracle email you sent me?
So we didn't need that anymore.
No, that's KVS. It's got all our old accounting
This was
records.
something else. Remember I got the instructions from the girl?
Yeah.
Let me see. Jeff, peek through there and see.
No, was there a claim on that fire? Probably not with the generator, but with the electrical. Wouldn't the insurance pay for that?
Oh, that was before my time. Do you remember what happened with
The
that?
fire?
Yeah, I have no idea what happened with that. That was before I came on
We'd have to
board.
check with Jeff on something like that.
Generator, also. Repair.
Yeah, 'cause there was some work that had to be done, maybe that was, they had to rewire the generator and put certain wiring in and stuff.
So Scott, where are we with 1620 400? Right now, where are we?
Right there, it should be at the top of those sheets I gave you.
Oh.
Jeff, what's the numbers on the top of the front page? Page 165 was budgeted. We're at 126, 160.
Cause this says 140 was budgeted.
1620.
1620.4.
Mm-hmm.
This is,
Some of those
Yeah, what?
numbers on there, some
oh,
of those
this is
numbers on there were
2020, this is
23.
23.
Okay,
This is not 24.
okay,
They ran the wrong report for me.
all right.
Okay.
So we budgeted to 124, we only used 72,000 out of 140. 73. Right? 24, actual.
That's 22, isn't it? Oh,
No,
9/22, 24, okay.
Yeah,
So
as of September 27th.
last meeting, we had that marked down to 120.
Yes,
So
so we'll leave it there.
120. Let me,
That's for buildings,
Yeah.
right?
yes.
I don't see how much more we can spend. I mean, everything's been updated and fixed and I don't know. What would come up be over $120,000?
Well, it looks like what comes out of that line is like the Toshiba copier, the.
Everything.
Well, yeah.
Everything and anything for
But
the
when we
building.
break out the accounts
Yeah.
going forward,
Seems
we're
like
gonna
we'll
know.
have high.
No more, yeah.
Scott, what is
The
gonna
120
happen, like
still
if the
looks
courts
high.
decide to move into that vestibule or that little room, where does that money come from?
That's something we would have to plan. So,
Yeah, last year we only used 72 or 73. Still,
if we go back to page 6, I'm gonna go with you guys on what I marked down here. 10, 10, 100. The top of the page.
Yeah.
19, 125.
Yeah.
The next line, 750.
Mhm.
14, 20, 400. 80,000. But Kathy, you were talking about, Kathy, you still there?
Yep, I'm here.
On the legal line, what we're today talking about increasing the, legal to the water districts?
Yes,
Cause we're at, what are we at now, 2,000 or 2,500?
I thought we were at 2.
Okay, 2,000 for the water districts. Wait,
Where are we
No,
going to?
legal's
We
25.
were 25.
Engineering's 2.
Oh,
legal's
no,
25.
you're right, we're at 25, engineers at 2,000.
That's 30 grand just for the water.
But that's over each of the 13 water districts,
Yeah.
so. And we dropped that down to, wait, 80 from 117, so that's, 20 that's 30 grand less.
117 from what?
From 117.5, we're going down to
Okay.
80 on the legal.
That's including the water or no?
No, that's not including.
No, water has to be separate.
Yeah, so that's
But
How much
legals-
more do you think we should go up on water?
117.
I
Oh, 85
I don't know,
grand.
Scott. I mean, I think there's a lot going on with water, just based on what Tina's mentioning and what needs to be sorted out. I mean, you could add another 500 and go up to 3 grand in each of the districts.
36,000.
37.5.
And you figured 85, not including the water? Right?
We were at 80, not including the
80,
water.
not
We were
including
at
the water.
80, not
Alright.
including water.
If you subtract
Plus-
out the 24 for her,
Yeah.
for the retainer, that's how much extra we had in general.
Yeah, but we still budget 150, you still had to, I mean, in legal's legal, we got to pay the attorney too, so. You're talking 116 from 150.
So if we leave
Leave it at 117.5.
it at 117.5 and another 500 per water district? So 500 times
I mean,
13,
what,
65,
36,000?
6,500. So that would take us, what did I say, 65, 35?
I'm confused. In the general fund, in the townwide general fund, we're leaving that at 80,000?
No, we're gonna leave that at, well,
80, and up each water
Yes,
district by
yes,
500.
yes,
Yes,
Yes.
I would leave that at 80.
yes. So,
So that's 116 altogether. Including the water districts.
3 times.
119, isn't it? There's 13 water districts, because there's a 4A and B.
Well, yeah, that's right too. All right.
119,000 total.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll mark that down. 3,000 per water district. Per district. And then 80,000 there, okay. Buildings contractual, we went to 120, which is 16,400.
We're agreed with that.
Huh?
I was kind of listening to Eddie on that. I mean, we did all that stuff, and we only spent 72,000. Why would we even be 120? I would think maybe
No, we're estimated the end of the year 97,000.
estimated.
Yeah.
Right?
But what else, because of the different contracts that you have?
Yeah.
There's no large purchases.
I mean,
I'd go down to 105 then. I mean, I'd give you a little cushion, but we shouldn't, if all the major work has been done,
right.
it doesn't seem like we should still be budgeting for,
What would be the reasoning to keep it high?
What are we talking about?
We got, the
16,
original was
2400.
140. We're down to 120.
119.
I listened to what Eddie was saying about that, and I was thinking 120 is too high.
unless there's a large project that
Unless
somebody
something we
knows
don't-
about
yeah.
that we don't, right?
Is there? I mean, is there a project?
I don't know, the only thing that we'd ever spoke about was putting new door in Darlene's office, right, to go out the back door there. Weren't they talking about that at one time?
But I don't think that's gonna happen now, if they're gonna put the court out there.
What,
Yeah.
are we on legal?
Yeah, I
No,
thought we were on
No,
legal.
we're on,
Oh, okay. What are we on?
yes,
Oh, I
legal.
Building
I went back to what
No,
Eddie was
I,
bringing
Jeff went
up.
right,
back.
I was confused too. It seemed like you went down to buildings contractual.
Okay, so
Yes, because
we're at
we
one,
agreed with legal, it's 119
Yeah.
I
total.
thought that
Yeah.
was finished, so I went back because I thought
yeah,
So now we're
119.
on
was saying was making
1620.
sense.
Right,
Yeah.
but your attorney contractual here is gonna say 80.
Correct.
Yep. Yeah.
Right, and then it's gonna be 3,000 in each of the water districts.
Yes, that's
Correct.
80 plus
Okay.
36,000.
119 total.
Right, but that,
Okay.
the number here is not 119.
No, it's 80. Yes, 80.
Right,
Yes.
yep, okay.
So now we're down to buildings contractual, 120. That's
And
what,
that seems high. Unless there's some project that,
everything, like I said, everything comes out of that.
understood,
Yeah,
but we've
but-
done some big projects out of that, and if all the big things are done,
The salt barn roof is done. Everything's been fixed back there.
the generator was fixed.
Generator, the power, substation, whatever you wanna call it, the hookup from the fire.
So you wanna drop it another 10,000?
I'd
And then you
I'd
got
like to see
the
it go to
courtroom rugs,
105.
like I said, we all went through it already.
That's cutting it too close because they're projecting almost 100,000 this year.
For what?
Buildings contractual expenses.
What kind of,
Heat, electric, everything. That's everything. National Grid, New York State Electric and Gas, Charter Communications, Springbrook Holding, all the software, all our leases, anything to do with the building.
What about
That's-
110?
why don't we get a list of what we're gonna be spending? I mean, not
I
to
could-
say
We
contractual.
put that, I think,
What are
Scott,
we
to
gonna-
the, paper and the
Yeah.
envelopes are all, and that's a big expense in the department.
Okay, you can go on Amazon and buy 500 envelopes for the pre-sealed, where you just rip the tape off and close them, for $18.95
For how much, 500?
for 500 envelopes.
I thought last meeting we said 120 on building
We
contractual.
did,
We
but,
did.
but
Okay,
the
yeah.
three of us are
Yeah, but
talking.
I was listening to what Eddie was saying, looking at the numbers and stuff. I think we could even cut it more. But maybe there's something out there I'm not aware of.
I think
I know
120 is a
an
good
Amazon
number.
account, 'cause they won't let you get one. The towns can't get an Amazon account, doing it on a personal,
Miranda used to order from Amazon,
I know.
but, oh, that wasn't a town account? Oh, okay.
They won't give
Let's
towns
see.
accounts you can order, but they won't give you, that's what I don't know, that's what I'm
Okay.
told.
I'd like to see 105. That would be my suggestion.
No, I'm not good with 105, that's too close.
110?
I'll go 110.
Going
I'd like to
once.
have a list of, all the contracts we gotta, like your software and everything.
Software, the-
How much all that's gonna be before I think it could be a lot lower.
But more than.
The big ticket items have been done already. I mean, the buildings and like you said, everything. The parking lot, well, that was ARPA, but still.
If you run an abstract
Mhm.
for a month and everything gets put into the month, right? It'll tell you what your monthly spending is. We should be able to multiply that times 12.
Times 12, yeah.
And then add or subtract out any one-time purchase, right? If there's a big one-time charge in that month, then you want to take it out before you multiply it out. And if there's a big purchase we know that's happening that's not in there, we would add it to that. We should be able to come up with a good estimate.
Okay, that was that. 5110 400.
Or are we,
5110-400 DB,
What page is that?
oh, the next
10.
page, 7.
No.
Oh,
page 10. 6. Why am I at? Page 7. I lost that. What is page 7?
oh, I thought there was a 5110 there, that's the one I thought you were talking about.
I'm gonna miss my pages. I'm looking here. Oh. That 5110-400, we're waiting to get a better explanation from Dale? Is that what you're saying?
I would
Maintenance
like,
of roads?
yeah, I'd like to know what else he still has left that he hasn't done, that he thinks needs to be done for this year. That'll tell us what our actual spend for this year is.
Okay. I have a question there for him. Alright, and then, other than that, we're working on the water districts. We're going line by line by each water district, trying to figure out,
What are you looking for? I mean,
just trying to figure out, cause stuff's, we don't have hard numbers, so stuff's not adding up. So, before we approve a tentative to a preliminary, we're gonna go back, Kathy's gonna come in and she's gonna go through some, district stuff, and then me and Tina are going through each, yeah, water one. We're gonna figure out like District 1, service and maintenance, what part of the accounts are going to. Each water district has a separate thing, so we have to go through each one. Because like 4A and 4B, according to these numbers we got now, the ones from Ted, 4A and 4B are not self-sustaining, they're in the hole. So water rates are gonna have to go up. That's why I'm saying these numbers,
there are like 4 of them are in the hole, aren't they?
yeah, that's just off of the numbers that they ran, and we're not sure of those numbers. So we're gonna go down the rabbit hole and see what we can find out on this before we decide, yeah, let's do this on our budget for the water district. It'd be irresponsible of us to do that if we did that.
We need to find out when you do these, where are these districts at, and what's the reason why they're in the hole. I mean, where in the town are they? We should have a map. This way, if there's, could have been leaks or something that,
Well, there are no more leaks, but there were leaks. There's $26 million worth of leaks last year. 26 million gallons worth of leaks last year. We bought 65 million off of Medina. We sold 40, I think 40 million. So there's like 26 million gallons worth of leaks. And that major one was under Oak Orchard Creek that nobody knew about because there was no water bubbling up because it was bubbling right into the creek. And then whatever we had, 3 or 4 main breaks on East Shelby Road. Those were going. And the one by your house, that blew out a ton of water. But like I said, we were just recently certified by Rural Water, no leaks in the town. So we'll go over the water district stuff. I'll keep you guys updated.
Okay, so I have something around about the highway fund. And I gave you guys some information, and I apologize to the people that I did not. This all came up at the last minute yesterday and today, and I just didn't have a chance to make copies. But, so, I gave you guys copies of some other areas, some other towns in the area. But I want to just draw your attention, so to the Village of Medina budget, the estimated tax rate is almost $14 per thousand. The town of Shelby goes from roughly the railroad tracks here, right, all the way down to Fletcher Chapel Road and east to west. So in that area, the Village of Medina has the maintenance of anything within Shelby from the railroad tracks to Maple Ridge Road. So that's covered in this $14 per thousand tax rate. If you look into and I just pulled a couple numbers out of the village. So the fire department, the personnel and the equipment not any retirement, cost the Shelby taxpayers in the village almost 425,000, which is, you have a fire department, a couple fire departments in our budget, so that the ambulance costs almost 1.3 million. So while we're paying 35,000 in our budget for the ambulance, the village taxpayers are covering 100, well, we're not covering the whole 1.3 because they get 35 from each of the
Ridgeway,
towns,
yeah.
but it's still a huge number. The highway department in the village, the budget is 1.5 million, okay? And that includes all the roads that are in the town of Shelby within the village. I went and looked, and I gave you guys, so the town of East Aurora has the village of East Aurora. The town of Orchard Park has the village of Orchard Park. And then I gave you the county of Onondaga County. And on each of these, you can see that in each one of these, the highway budget, almost in whole, there's some small amount, is completely, all of those areas charge the highway budget to outside the village. So I think we need to seriously look at that.
Yeah, but
because-
that,
so
I'm sorry, go ahead.
If you look at, so, I'm sorry, Scott, so here's one, this one sheet that's not stapled, that's that's Orchard Park. So if you look at, there's like the third line down, it says highway fund. And it says the highway fund is the town outside the village. So they charge their highway fund. I gave you a whole packet, and in that packet,
Oh,
there
there
should
it
be
is, okay.
3 different.
Yeah.
Okay. This one is the town of East Aurora, and they charge their $2.1 million of highway fund is pretty much all charged outside the village. They have 67,000 they charge to the village. 2.1 million gets charged to outside the village. And then when you look at this packet right here that says Onondaga County on it, and you look down, I highlighted mine, but it didn't come out on every single town within Onondaga County charges their highway budget outside of the village. Because the village residents are already paying for maintaining Shelby roads that are within the village. So I know we talked about moving the snow removal, but while I was looking for any other towns that did that, I started to come across this and notice that these towns are charging the highway budget outside because the people, you guys can look at that, I just ran just a few pages out of the village budget, but village budget is online, right, Marguerite? It's not, okay, because that's where I got that from, so you'll see that the village people are paying for, the village taxpayers that are in Shelby are paying to maintain half of Shelby's, maybe not half, a portion of the Shelby roads that fall within the village, okay? And that's only charged to the village residents. Now, I want to be clear, I'm not saying that every single town does it that way. There are towns that don't. And it is up to the town board to make that decision as to how they think that should, we have a choice that we can say it's going to be spread out amongst everybody, or it's going to be charged to the outside residents because the village people pay for the inside. And I'm just asking that we talk about that as an option here.
Now that, where was
That's the village, so you can see on the front page, and then the pages behind it, Scott, the last page I think is the highway budget. So the
Steve-
fire department is kind of 1-to-1. The ambulance is clearly not 1-to-1.
well, the ambulance, a good portion of that, correct me if I'm wrong, Marguerite, is paid by insurance, reimbursements. It's not totally 100% on Medina. We pay our fare, you pay your share, and then moving patients from hospital to hospital is covered under insurance. That's why they passed that new law this year, so you guys directly get reimbursed.
But not in total.
Yeah.
Um,
You will starting in January, but as of right now, it's whether or not the people pay you. That's that new law.
more
So it's
than
new.
that, though. It's new. We should be getting more money. We're
Yep.
hoping to get more money.
Yeah.
But the village taxpayers are still paying for the majority of the ambulance costs.
Which we don't have an ambulance in Shelby, you know,
No.
we're out, so I'm not trying to, I'm just
No.
trying to show you some of the costs that show up that obviously the other towns in the area get the benefit from using that. But the highway department, so we have to really look at what's fair when you have a group of taxpayers that are paying to maintain roads that fall within Shelby. Do we want to charge them again for other roads when other people are not paying for those same roads?
It's gonna consume the cost of the village people. It's gonna go on tax roll for everybody outside the village.
The highway
So how
fund
much is
would
that
go,
gonna,
I don't know that, that's what Tina would have to calculate and see.
We can run the numbers and
But
figure
the
out.
highway department budget would go to the B funds.
Why is it that way? I mean, you've been around. I mean, why?
It's been like that for years.
Yeah, but
I
why?
don't know why, but
it was probably set up by board for who knows how long ago. I mean,
Is there some kind of reason, kind of a sense?
Jeff,
about
I wouldn't know the reason
There
for
probably
it.
is,
as long
but
as I
those
can
people are
remember, it's
long
been
gone.
like that.
Yeah, who knows? Those people are probably all dust.
But I think you have to remember, just because there might have been a reason 40 years ago, doesn't mean that reason is still valid.
Well, yeah,
I think that's why I'm just asking that we
I
bring
was
it up
just
and
trying to get
discuss it
some
again.
sense of it, because to me, it seems kind of crazy.
40 years ago, your taxes were probably 25% or even less than that, what we're paying now. That's the issue.
Well, since
Things have gone up.
2020, our budget has gone from $1 million to $1 million. I mean, it's gone up $300,000 since COVID, just for the cost of everything. We went back and we checked. COVID hit and our budget went up $300,000-$400,000, and it stayed there just because of the cost of materials and everything. So I wrote down we'll run it that way. Road taxes for outside the village and see what it comes up with. It's
I
something.
mean, I don't think we can be any fairer than to check it out.
Yeah.
I don't have no issue with checking it out.
We'll run the numbers. I'll have her run the numbers.
I mean, clearly it's going to raise the taxes. Right, there's gonna be a tax swing from the people that are in Shelby.
Well, I understand
to
that.
people.
I
Okay.
mean, with the other people,
I'm not-
the outside the village are gonna have to understand why. It's gonna have to be brought up, how come taxes are going up.
Yeah, agreed. But hopefully people understand if you've got part of Shelby is being paid for by a subset of people, and now you want to charge that same subset for all of Shelby again. It seems
I
to me-
understand
it
exactly
seems to
what
me
you're
like a
saying,
double
but
dip.
also you got these people sitting here that are outside the village.
Yep.
They're gonna wanna know how much their taxes are gonna go up.
I'm not saying we shouldn't do that, but I don't want anybody to think I'm trying to say that, you know, like I'm trying to do a shuffle here where people aren't gonna know.
Well, I think the problem is the spending. The spending's gotta be stopped. It's just out of control.
I would still be curious if you took this budget from Barry and tried to understand how they are able to go.
Yeah, they don't have a village to go from either.
Yeah,
Just-
1.8 million, 1.9 million is their A and DA fund versus our,
Without knowing what they're doing and what we're doing, it's kinda hard to just, that's all numbers Scott's gonna have to look at with Tina or whoever. I mean,
or Dale really needs to,
Dale- on
Dale
Dale's
needs to look
budget
through
there,
this and say, why are we
Yeah,
so much
maybe
higher than?
Tina needs to look through that too.
I think that's a good idea.
She can figure out why they can do it
I
and,
mean, we got her here. I know why she's here, but still, if we got questions about what's going on in her department, she's right here. I think when we're doing this, we should have Dale here.
So whatever the
don't-
next meeting is, maybe we,
Like, we could
Yeah.
keep on, what about this, what about that? We're getting nowhere with it. To me, if he could just sit there and tell me this is why, it's, Barry's
Yeah,
different
if he
from
can
us.
show me why he needs
Yeah,
that, I'm all
that's-
good with it.
Well, then Tina should take the Berry budget and go over that too, and compare it to what we got, and figure out why.
That'll be on, that's gonna have to.
A bigger town can do it cheaper than us.
When were the meetings scheduled? The 15th, the 21st?
To change
Tomorrow,
just preliminary, and then there's one for the 21st for the public hearing for the preliminary budget.
All right, we'll have to cancel those both.
Cancel both the 21st.
Yeah. I mean, we could, I don't know, I would say the earliest we could do anything would probably be Monday. We could say we're gonna have a meeting every day of the week, but check the website for cancellation. We could plan a meeting every night of the week next week at 6 PM. And, by 3 o'clock, we'll know whether or not we're gonna have a meeting and cancel it on the website.
Well, will Tina have a better idea of where she's at by the
We're,
end of the
we're,
week?
Next week.
we're talking today, we're hoping by the end of this week we should have it done, but, why don't we hold off on scheduling the meetings until I get a better idea with her,
I think
Throughout
that's
this
a lot
week.
better idea than mine.
so.
That's gonna create a bunch of confusion, having a meeting every night of the week and then cancel it. Not gonna look good on the freaking website.
No, but you can do it. The law says you can go ahead and
No, I know.
schedule all your meetings, and just whether or not you need them. But let's wait to schedule them until we figure out how close we are on the water stuff, and then we can schedule meetings. You guys good with that?
So you'll let me know when we're gonna have the next meetings?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll put it's canceled on the website then tomorrow.
Tomorrow night,
and then
yeah.
you have to post something for the one you posted.
It's already in the penny
Yeah,
saver,
because
so.
you're gonna have to put something out there saying. it's
Oh, it won't be till
canceled.
the following.
You'd have to put it
Yeah.
by
it's
Thursday,
like
right?
2 days notice, yeah.
Thursday.
Have they haven't printed it yet, have they?
It was in something, the public hearing was put in yesterday's paper.
Okay, so see if they can change it for next weekend. The ad's already paid for. They might be able to just change a print.
Well, I doubt it.
Or we're gonna have to run another ad.
But I need to know when it's gonna be, so.
Yeah.
The public hearing won't be for over a week then. You're
Yeah.
talking-
Right, I mean,
Well,
I was thinking if you could still have the public hearing on oh wait, that's the 21st.
Yeah, no,
That's
we
only
won't
a
have
week
enough
away.
time.
No,
No.
you'll have to be later than that.
I'll put it on the website and then I'll just, send something off to the,
And the budget's gotta be changed by the day after the election, right? Or
2 days. It's
2
gotta
days.
be
Today's
2
November
days.
7th,
We
yeah.
gotta change it before that.
The 7th.
Yeah,
May
you
not be
have to-
changed, may not be changed till then,
Yeah,
yeah.
Well, it better be changed before then.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, it'd have to be, but I mean, it's gonna, to get all these answers, it's gonna take a while.
Hopefully we get them next week. By the end of this week, if she's
Right,
got
so
the water done.
do you wanna keep a meeting for the 21st for you guys?
It's the 21st.
It's Monday.
Next
Monday,
Monday.
that's the night we're supposed to do the public hearing.
Right, you could keep that as a meeting for you guys.
Yeah, we could
And then
schedule
if you
it.
feel like you have all the information, you could decide to go from
That's the 21st,
tentative to preliminary at that meeting.
so we'll schedule that as a tentative.
Could you ask Dale to attend?
Yeah.
Scott, thank you.
We'll still have time though, I mean, if we don't do it, not a week from today, it may not get done by then, we still have time to do it. We may need a couple more meetings. That's
Well,
that's all
hopefully
I'm
the
saying.
next one is the last one, that we can't hammer everything
Well,
out
yeah.
and get it.
So I'll let, Owens Hub, or the Lake Country Penny Saver, I have to let them know by Thursday at noon, that's gonna be canceled for the 20th, it's only 1 day notice, but it'll be on the website.
Alrighty. You good?
I'm good.
Alrighty.
adjourn.
Thanks, everyone. You got anything else, Kathy? No? All right. Thanks,
No,
Kathy.
I'm good. All right, thanks, everybody.
Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
You want me to turn this off, darling? No.